Okay, LaShonda, so we took a quick break and we're back because I'm really excited about this restoration. So we're going to call this restoration part two.
Part two.
Part two. And that's a continuation of what we were saying before. So I hope within the week from this video, people have had an opportunity to speak to the Lord and kind of maybe even journal or have some introspection about some of the things that need to be stripped away. And I really want to talk about how he can work with us and wants to work with us through that process that I don't always want to say it's painful, but it could be work, such hard work that like you've never done before.
Hmm.
And so I really want to encourage people on why it's important to do that if we want to get closer in our, with Christ, if we want to really walk out our walk, or even if your motivation isn't, you're not at that place yet where it's like, because my objective is to be more Christ-like, but maybe it is you just want to live a more authentic life, a life filled with joy as opposed to temporary happiness.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think part of the importance that people can resonate with is if you've ever traveled, whatever that's looked like, and you've had to carry a bag, a book bag that's full of books, or you're walking through an airport, you have all this baggage and all these things that are slowing you down,
Mhm,
weighing you down.
mhm.
There, you brought them because you find them necessary, right? Wherever you're going, you need the things you're carrying. So it's not frivolous, but you understand that like the way you move and the way you maneuver is inhibited by all the things you got to carry and bring with you. Well, I believe that when we step into a space and allow ourselves to be restored by Christ, he starts to help us realize that everything we packed in those bags don't need to go with us.
It's not
And
necessary.
it's not necessary. As a matter of fact, so much of it is not even ours. We
Yeah,
carry in stuff that belong to other people in the
yeah.
form of resentment and anger and frustration, and it was never ours to carry. So part of it, I believe, is the benefit is lighten your load.
Mhm.
Get to a place where you can maneuver and move around more freely in this life because you're not burdened and weighed down by things that are unnecessary, not yours, and things you weren't intended to carry. And I can't think of a person, a believer or not, who couldn't get behind like, oh, yeah, maybe my back pain, maybe my posture, maybe
It
my
will change.
accessibility would be I can get into places I couldn't get into before because I got 5 bags on my back. We really can move into spaces that, we're looking like I've been trying to get into this space for so long. And we think the barriers are somebody else's fault. Or we keep being denied because they keep telling us no. When sometimes they're like, you can't fit through the door.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when we can lighten our load, we can move in places that we want to be and be more free because we're not weighed down with that. And I totally believe, and it has been my journey, part of that restoration for me.
Yeah, that's good. And any parent who has had more than one child understands the diaper bag with child number one is a whole lot heavier than diaper bag with child number two. So it's, to your point of the backpack and you're traveling, you're carrying other people's stuff, you don't need it. Where God is taking you or where you want to go, you're holding on to stuff because it's comfortable, just in case. Just in case this happens, just in case my baby needs to be changed 5 times. Child, you're only going into Kroger for 5 minutes. You are not going to need 5 diapers. So, and you learn that with child number two. So as we're going through this journey, like you said, lighten your load. Start to identify those things that are getting in your way. It could be what's causing the fear of you stepping out to do something. It could be um, why are you personally rejecting yourself? Like you said before, they're not saying no to you, you're saying no to you.
Hmm.
So start to identify those things and figure out, okay, God, how do you want me to strip this away? And Again, I always like taking things, I feel faith is a practice, and I take it back to, like, if you think about anything that you want to do well, you have to practice at it.
Mhm.
And you're going to have to do iterations. Just practice.
Yes, and I love when you talked about the diaper bag because, I definitely don't want to make it seem like this is a human experience thing. We do it, but
Yes.
there are also forces that will convince us that we need those things. So it's not
Yeah.
just our own
Yeah.
like identification of I need the 5 diapers. There are forces in place that are specifically designed to convince you that you need all the stuff you brought. And
Yes.
so we also part of this process in the stripping away is we really have to pay attention to our diet. And when I say diet, I don't just mean the things we eat, I mean the
Hmm.
things we consume.
Yeah.
Anything that comes in you is a diet. Eyes, nose, mouth, ears, anything you perceive on your skin, what are you taking in? And if you're constantly taking in things that are suggestive that you need to hold on to all this baggage or is inciting fear that if you let it go, you won't have it. Hoarding takes on many different iterations, not just the one you see on TV where you can't walk in a person's house, but we can be emotional hoarders.
Yes.
We don't want to let go of that emotional pain or that because it fuels me. Or if I forgive this, then I won't have that. Just we have to say, what am I taking in? And is what I'm taking in making me hold on to and retain all of these things that I could be letting go? Or am I taking in things that are helping me to be more aware, more conscious, and more willing to step out, take the risk of letting that thing go? I think that's huge.
Yeah. And I think a lot of those types of things, and they're different for all of us, but a lot of us have common ones, because, there ain't nothing new under the sun. So you ain't the only one going through it. But that is what builds up what we talked about in part one, the facades. It builds up the walls. All of those things are like, nope, here's a brick. I need to have this. I need to build up this emotional wall to comfort myself. And then it's like, okay, what's the other one? No, I stay away from people. I don't talk to people because I have a fear that they're going to hurt me. Here's another one. So you wind up either behind walls or you have these beautiful facades, but it's really not who God wants you to live this exciting, abundant, productive life.
Mhm.
And it's, what are those things that are restrictive? What are those things? It may even be, start to identify those things that are your little blankies. What are the things that you hold on to that are comfortable and they make you feel good? Are
Mhm.
they really making you feel good, just feel good, or are they part of joy?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that accountability is important. And when people say accountability, I think their most minds automatically go to the person who's going to keep you on task. The
Mhm.
taskmaster is like, have you done that? But for me, a part of accountability is a person who's going to be real with you, who's
Yeah.
going to be vulnerable and authentic with you, that you can share in the journey together, not just someone overseeing your journey, but who's willing to be open about theirs. And that we don't have to just point out shortcomings and be like, oh, you said you were going to do that. But it reminds me, for the record, this is just an analogy because I do not run. That's truth. I want to be clear. But I think about people who do choose to run marathons,
Yeah.
right? Half, whole, 5Ks, whatever it is. On the day of the race, streets are lined with people. Go, go, you got it. They're
Yeah.
handing out
Very
water, they're
excited.
doing all this
Yeah.
stuff. They're at the finish line. Yeah, you did it. But that person has been training for months.
Right.
We need people who are going to be motivating and helping us trial run 3 when we first start, when we've never ran before and we can just walk. When we can get in relationship with people who are there and can encourage us along the way, who are not just at the finish line saying you did it, but we can come in contact and relationship with people who are saying you're doing it. I'm
Yeah.
celebrating the little successes with you. That wasn't even a little success. You did more than you did yesterday. Good job. Here's what I need. And when we can find accountable relationships like that,
Mhm.
then this process doesn't feel sometimes so isolated and alone. And the shame that likes to creep in while we're by ourselves, you should have been done this. What's wrong with you? Why are you still doing that? You tell people you agree. All that noise.
Mhm.
No, when we can come in community and relationship with each other, then we have so much encouragement coming and so much prayer that that little noise, it don't have enough space to get in. You like, I'm not gonna listen to you. I have this encouragement, and you can be that for others. So I think that's a very important part of the journey.
I love that because everybody wants to show up when you're about to cross the finish line. But what about
Everybody.
those people who are trying to encourage you to start?
Yeah.
Or when you get to mile 7 and it's like, oh, Lord, I can't do it anymore. So it's, yeah, get you somebody who's also trying to start, or maybe they're on 7 and you're at 0 or what have you. But I think that's a good point. So I think I want to leave that for people here, and that is, I hope there was some kind of step that was taken from part 1 to here we are as part 2. But then hopefully, let's challenge folks to get into that mutual accountability situation where it's like, look, I need you to be real with me and I'm going to be real with you. And it's not, like you said, it's deeper than just, did you do this? Check. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, no, you did this. This is the part you did. Now,
Mhm,
how are you going to move forward?
mhm.
And I see this in you. I see this growth in you, or I see you're starting to backslide. Let's identify again what's going on.
That's it. Not just get your butt in gear, but something's happening. Let's explore that together. You're not
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah,
Now, how do we recoup? I love it.
I do too. I love it. I love you. I appreciate you. This
Ah,
is
thank you.
exciting. Thanks for taking the time with us. And I really hope that
Absolutely.
some people receive some freedom and some truth that they can activate in their life right now. And yeah, I'm
Me
just
too.
blessed to be able to talk about it. So thanks so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you, Terry.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.